Yeah, that was great. I'd like to introduce natural dyes, the movement towards smaller, slower, and sustainable. By Kim Demick.
I'd like to invite any of you to go ahead and try to naturally dye with these Osage oranges. You can't get anything out of them, I've tried. But the bark of the tree creates a really beautiful golden hue. Before 1856, actually, textiles were always naturally dyed. This is an Indonesian batik utilizing catechu, acacia pods that were boiled down to a resin. The black accents were actually probably indigo that was overdyed. This Uzbekistani rug illustrates not only catechu but madder red, also called Turkey red, which is completely erroneous because it wasn't from Turkey, it was from a region at the time called Levant. And Assyrian and Jewish dyers that used it had to go through an extensive process using cow's blood and dung and all sorts of crazy things. This is actually an example of madder root using a mordant. The mordant is a mineral salt tin here. And in this one, this is a silk that has been overdyed with madder, Brazil wood, and Osage orange. Raw mineral alum. This is a good example of how natural dyes can create a really beautiful and deep hue if used on a fabric that is not synthetic at all. This is a cotton velvet that absorbed Brazil wood. Cochineal, these little guys unfortunately have blood red guts, and that creates a really nice red stain, which everyone in history thought was beautiful. So you will see this illustrated in the red coats of the American Revolution. It's also been used as carmine in lipsticks and cherry Coke, if you like to drink that. Not anymore. It's been used in Italy with the robes. This is where we get the term cardinal red. Moving right along, we're going to be seeing black walnut dye is the next thing. Many of you have probably noticed this on your sidewalks. You probably don't enjoy it, but it's a really cool dye for dyers. It's completely not necessary to use anything to affix the dye before or after you apply the color. So it's actually pretty safe to use if you want to try this with your kids or something. I just use gloves. The next couple slides are going to illustrate different types of fabrics that have been used with walnut dye. This is a canvas, which was then waxed with beeswax to sort of provide a little water repellency. This coat was made with wool, and this is a little twill of cotton twill, actually, and obviously a different color of dye was achieved. The wool soaks it up a little bit nicer. The back portion of this dress is using also black walnut. It creates a nicer, a little bit more of a champagne color if you use the dye once it is a little bit old, actually. I think I had this dye and had worked with it for about 4 or 5 months. Now we're moving on to something that would be illustrated in old texts, in ancient Hebrew texts. This is related to a small snail, actually, Murex brandeis. The little mucus secretions from these guys created, when added to fabric, a really beautiful and enduring purple, which became something that was highly regarded, and of course the higher castes of people decided that they would lord it over everybody else because it took 12,000 snails to make 1.5 grams of dye, which would only dye the very bottom of your garment, not 4 or 5 yards like that. This is a chunk of indigo, a dye that I'm really passionate about. History, which I actually don't have enough time to tell you about that, but I can tell you that it has been dated back to 5,000 years ago. The Tuareg people of the Sahara are well known for their turbans and their gowns that they'll wear, which would be completely covered with indigo. It's interesting dye in the sense that you can use it without using any type of chemicals at all. There's a few different ways to go about it. This is an example of indigo on a silken tencel. I like to use a vat fermentation method, which involves madder root and wheat bran. It's stinky, and, but better than the urine that was used in the past. This is an example of silk chiffon and indigo. I think that there's definitely been a movement towards this. I've noticed it with some Detroit designers as well as myself and a few other people in New York. Thank you so much.